Now I see there's a restroom.
Yeah, we're gonna rip that out there. And we're gonna get a Toto.
Yes. Okay, so that you're getting rid of.
It's got to go to because we're
Yeah,
getting the Toto.
good though. And the bathroom here.
And that's where the soft spot is, right? The soft floor because of the washing machine leak.
Yes. So the floor is a little bit like a fluffy here.
Okay. All right. Okay. Home arcade used to be way bigger, but now I live in a smaller place, so it's smaller. There's only 5 games now, as opposed to the 10 that were there back in the day, but that's not what this video is about. This video is about how I got an Akiya in Japan, and I'm going to take you through the steps. So if you want an Akiya, you can get one too. So today's video will be signing of the contract, how I found the realtors, how I found the place, all the things that led up to that. And then the next video will hopefully be me walking through the house. That'll be in December. This one is going to be done sometime in August, hopefully, if I'm not lazy. So sit back and enjoy doing stuff, finally doing some stuff. Before we jump into everything else, there's a quick update that I should tell you guys about. The original closing date was the 16th of August. But we had to move it out to the 18th. And there was a couple of reasons for that. One was an Oban holiday. Then there was that giant earthquake that hit, which disrupted pretty much everything. And because my realtor is down in Osaka and the house is up in Saitama, he couldn't get up there, obviously, because transportation was shut down. And then you had the tsunami, which also continued to shut transportation down. So it was moved to the 18th. He did get up there right when the tsunami hit Tokyo, but as you'll see, he's absolutely fine. Which is always good. And now back to our show. So this video series is how I got my Akiya, and we're going to do part 1 today. And part 1 is going to be about how I found who I found to work with, how I found my house, the template I used to get the house and get my information to my realtor, all the way up to signing the contract. When I first started this, I was basically told to sit tight and hold on, that it was going to probably be like 6 to 8 months to get through this whole process to getting a house. I signed with the company AkiyaMart, and I'll explain why I've used those guys in a moment. I signed with AkiyaMart the first week of July, and then I started looking seriously after they hooked me up with a realtor in the second week of July. It is, at the time of this recording, August 11th. I've already put in a bid for a house. It's been accepted. And I'm closing on August 16th. So that is pretty fast, especially since I was told I probably wouldn't be closing until September or October, October being more realistic. This has been almost, it's actually been less than a month if I put everything together in my head with the math. And I'm not that good at math, but I'm pretty sure it's been less than a month. And that's great because now I can focus on closing the house and doing the things I need to do for the house, like changing the kitchen up a little bit, adding some furniture, getting all that stuff out of the way before I get in the house in December, which will probably be part 2 of the video. Me seeing the house for the first time with my girl, us doing a walkthrough, and then us shopping and finding stuff that we need for the house and finding the best renovators and finding the best cleaning company to clean it up and sharing all that stuff with you guys. So you too, when you're ready to get an Akiya, have everything you need to just jump in. And with that, here's that template I keep talking about. And it'll be in the description for free. And I'll probably mention that like 5 or 6 more times. Okay, so here's the document that I was talking about. I'm going to go through this as fast as I can because I don't want to bore you with this shit, but here is what it is in a nutshell. So column A is my recommendation choices, like top choice, first choice, second, third, and fourth choice. It's pretty obvious what that means. Top choice is the one I definitely want. First choice is the one I'd go for if I can't get my top choice, and so on and so forth. Fourth choice is basically like, if I have to, I'll get this, but I'm probably going to knock the house down and rebuild on it anyway. The address columns, column B is the address in English. Column C is the address in Japanese. The quick review column and the status column are both for the realtor. So he would put in column D the questions he asked the realtor seller and the answers he got from them. Or like finding out if the seller was actually just a real estate company that own the house outright. And that's what he would put here. As an example, checking infrastructure, right? Like, so he's telling me that we have to check the infrastructure. We have to get this inspected because they're telling us that nobody's checked it in a long time. There may be damage. Column F is the status of where he is in relation to looking at the properties. He's waiting for a callback. He's setting up a viewing. He's got a viewing booked. He's discussing it with the seller on when we can see the house, if we can see the house, if the house is still available, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The area, column E, are the areas I wanted to live in. Now you're going to be able to edit this. I'm going to leave it open so you can put in whatever you want. But I wanted to stay in one of these places: Saitama, Ibaraki, Osaka, Nara, Fukuoka, Chiba, or Tokyo. I was pretty much all over the map, sorta. I didn't go up north because snow, I can't deal. But I stayed in the Tokyo area and south. The link, well, for me, was mostly on AkiyaMart because I used them to find the house. But, you find wherever you find the original link, the original property, if you're looking at an Akiya Bank site or whatever, you'd put it here. If you use AkiyaMart or a third party like I did, usually there's an original link to the original post made by the realtor. You put that link here. And why do you put the two? Because third-party sites like AkiyaMart, while they do have a lot of information, sometimes it's not up-to-date accurate with the original link, or sometimes there may be things that the original link has that AkiyaMart doesn't have, or the other third party. Like a great example is they don't have access to, on AkiyaMart, to the distance to where convenience stores are, or supermarkets, or parks. My Home and At Home, they do have that, so that's really important stuff to know. The seller's link is if this was something that we found on a realtor's website, not through an Akiya Bank website. The questions were column J were the questions I had. So in other words, like, is the foundation sloping? Is there a leak in the roof? Is there water damage? Has there been termite damage? Do they have termites now? Can we check for these things? Like that kind of shit. So I would put these here for my realtor, and he would either do the research or he would ask the seller's agent if they knew any updates on this. Seller's agent is obvious. It's the people that's hired to sell it for the seller. Column L is infrastructure for listing info. So this is like, is it public water or is it a private well on the property for my water? Is it public sewage or is it a septic tank that needs to be drained out? Is it city gas or am I using propane? A lot of houses actually in general in Japan use propane to heat the water heater or heat their stoves. So you want to look into that. Zoning is it residential or is it in business/residential area or in a business area? The year built is the year that the house was built. Typically, the newer the house, the more earthquake resistant it is. After 1981, Japan passed the law that the houses had to be built up to a certain specification. So houses from I was looking from 81 and up. I did find some houses, as you can see here, from 74 and 79. They were beautiful. They were big. But I didn't go for them. Obviously, I went for a house that was built in 84. But the higher the number, the better, because it also upgraded the earthquake laws for building houses in the 90s and in the 2000s. So the square feet is a square feet of the house. The price is a price in American dollars for me, but you put your currency there. The number of rooms is actually the number of bedrooms here. And then the distance to the train is how long is it going to take me to get to the train? Obviously, the lower the number, the better. I'm not going to have a car, so that's really important to me and getting around. And then, of course, there's the condition. Normal wear and tear is what this house shows right now. But let's go over to the top. Near perfect means you literally could just move in, put furniture in, and you're ready to go. Maybe you got to do a cleaning beforehand, but that's it. Normal wear and tear is what you'd expect from either a place that's just been rented, that the people moved out, or it's a house that if the seller is selling after leaving it. Needs work is okay, the flooring may need to be redone. The tatami mats may need to be replaced. Badly damaged. I've seen houses, a lot of houses like this in AkiyaMart and other Akiya sites as well. These are where the floor is all ripped up. There's shit hanging from the ceiling. You're going to do some work on this house. And then why? Essentially you're going to rip the house down and build another house on top of that property. So for me, other things that were important were distance to convenience stores. I'm an American citizen, so I'm not going to be there all the time. And when I am there, I want to get money from my bank account, and 7-Eleven has the cheapest rates. So I wanted to know how far I was from convenience stores. Distance to supermarkets, also important because I'm going to be cooking a lot. Distance to restaurants. When I don't feel like cooking, I want to be in walking distance to a restaurant or 5 or 6 for options. And then, of course, column W, which you can make for whatever you want, whatever tickles your fancy. But for me and my girl, it was book off, hard off, and off house. Of course, a really important one. How far from the airport is this place? I don't know about you, but after flying for 14 hours, I don't want to spend another 3-4 hours on a train going home. Some of these are 2 hours, as you can see, and I was willing to deal with that because of the house and the location. I also put Asakusa because Asakusa is one of my favorite places in Tokyo. So that was on here as well. But we always fly in through Haneda. We never really fly in through Narita. And if we looked at houses in Osaka or Kyoto or Beppu in that area, or, Kyushu, we were looking at Osaka International Air and putting that information here. So this is the document that I'm giving to you guys. I hope you can use it. I hope it's valuable for you all. And I hope you find the house that you're looking for. So why did I choose AkiyaMart? Well, I mean, experience in the past when I've worked with realtors here in the States, it's been hit and miss. And when I spoke to these guys, they were really cool. So let's talk about that, right? I reached out to them when I found a bunch of properties that I liked. Take, who is on the same coast I'm on, which is the West Coast, responded to me pretty quickly and was like, hey, this is my partner Joey. We want to set up a call with you and get a feel for what you're looking for, who you are, and that kind of stuff, which I thought was cool because they want to make sure like I'm really serious about what I want to do, my intentions, see if I'm a right fit to work with them, which I liked and I respected greatly. We do the call. It's great. We have a good conversation. About an hour and a half later, they write back and they say, hey, we want to help you find a house. There is an upfront cost. It's at the time of this video, it's $2,000. That helps them maintain a bunch of stuff that they got to do, pays for the time that they're giving you, and pays for the realtor's time in Japan for what he's doing for you, which was like, I think 40 hours worth of time. So the next step is getting me set up with the realtor. The realtor is in Osaka. His name's Yo, and he sends an email with Take to set something up to see if we can work together. We do the Zoom call about 3 days later, and it's a cool call. The guy's great. He's got a lot of passion. He just seems like a really nice dude. And I'm like, you know what? I feel comfortable with this guy. I feel like I can trust everybody here. I definitely want to go through with this. These guys were so upfront and cool that I felt really good working with them. I was like, yeah, you know what? This could be a thing. I want to do this. So we talk, Ro, like I said, we talk about the house, houses, and I tell them I'm going to share a spreadsheet, which is the one I have in the description here. It's a template for you guys. And this way we could talk like in real time pretty much about what I'm finding and what he's finding on the places that I point out that I want to look at. And we go from there. And it's back and forth for like a week, and it's absolutely incredible. And he's on top of everything. Like, he's just giving me incredible service. I mean, super helpful, answering even all my stupid questions because there were many. These guys were really patient. I get a little anxious and the anxiety comes out in emails and whatnot, but these guys were really cool. It's a good dynamic. Take is very laid back and chill. Joey is very East Coasty, which I like because I'm from the East Coast. So I respected the way they spoke to me and the way they handled themselves. And that's the main reason why I went to AkiyaMart. On top of their website's really easy to go through. They're just stand-up guys, and so far through this whole process, they've been great. And they're helping me with other things that I wouldn't normally know how to do. So I got to give props to these guys. So let's go look at the house. This is video that Yo shot, and I put it together. It's all shot on a phone, so it's narrow. I'll try to maybe, who knows, maybe I'll be able to make it look wide, like normal screen size, and not look all stretched out and shitty. But if it's not, normal size, then I couldn't do it because my skills with editing are as good as my skills with coding. So this is a typical contract in Japan. It is very lengthy. It went on for an hour and a half, this conversation, because we went over everything. We went over the important things like who the seller was, where they were located, where his office was located, what kind of house is it? Is it a residence? Is it in a residential area? Is it in a business area or a mix? What is the house made of? It's wooden, as we all knew, so wooden house. How big the house was, how many square feet the land was around it, things like that. And then it went even deeper. Like it showed me the property as a high view of the property, showing me the actual outline of all the land I owned and letting me know that it is non-rebuildable right now. So if an earthquake happens and it gets demolished, I cannot rebuild on this land. The only way I'd be able to do that is if I bought the land next to me or I made an even smaller place on the land. That is it. I cannot build the same size house if the house gets demolished in an earthquake on this property. But I can rebuild. It just has to be smaller. Or I could buy the land next door to me and I could make it a bigger place. It also let me know that there's a shed on the property, which we saw in the photographs. But like they just went through everything, man. Like it was almost like getting audited, but it was just going over your house, which I loved because every detail, every nook and cranny was there. The fact that everything that's in the house and around the house I own, and they're not going to take it away. Things like the bin in the kitchen and all the towels that are upstairs on the second floor, they're all mine. Even if I don't want them, so I could just throw them out. But they're not going to remove them before I move into that place. And he was fantastic, Dio, going through all this. He walked me through it all and explained it all with a lot of patience. So I just hats off to this guy, man. I mean, again, it just shows you how amazing it is to work with people in Japan. They're extremely by the book. They're extremely super detailed about stuff. I personally love it. And yes, this is glitching because his video call kept glitching at the end there. But that's what happened with this contract, more or less.